So I wanted to do another video on a Love is Blind Habibi. I watched it again in order to be able to explain it better. So Love is Blind is basically a reality show where people meet without seeing each other. So they meet in pods, which are these rooms, and they basically talk, and then they look for common grounds. What I find very strange is that they're not organized. Like I would expect them to have a questionnaire. For instance, the topics I would mention are one, what are you looking for in a partner? Two, do you want to have children? And if yes, when? What is your timeline? Three, are you willing to compromise? Are you willing to compromise on your career and stay at home and raise kids? And to men, the same question for women and to men. And what was your family life like? Do you come from a divorced family? Not divorced family? And what are your conclusions? How do you see an ideal marriage? Who is your favorite movie star? Musician? What kind of music do you like? All these things are not clear. And then people find themselves before the wedding and it's not clear. And then they have all these falling out. You don't want to have children? Really? So this is what happened in Love is Blind Habibi, which is Arabic. The difference between Love is Blind Habibi and Love is Blind US, UK, Brazil, and the others are the following. Love is Blind Habibi, when you go away, you don't share a room, which is fantastic. The women have a separate area than the men. They meet together, and there's not so much physical display of affection. They do not share a room, which is great. They definitely don't have intimate relations. Very, like in the US, like version, they immediately, most of them have sex. So that kind of blinds them from rationally looking at the relationship, because once sex is in the game, then you forget about the other problems and the other matters. It tends to hide a lot of other issues, to mask it tends to distract from other issues. And the third thing is that parents are supposed to meet. The parents are supposed to meet before you make the decision, and they have to approve. And then there's number four, they have a religious ceremony with the sheikh. So I didn't realize Dubai is so beautiful. I live in Israel, and a lot of people go to Dubai. Not a lot, but wealthy people I know. For me, it's too much. The buildings, I don't like buildings, but they're beautiful. Desert and camel, and I guess for Arabs it's paradise because it's really rich and ritzy and very attractive for people that are of Arabic culture. So you have to understand there's no such thing as like Arab in this series, because there's Moroccans are completely different than, let's say, a person from Iraq. They have a completely different culture. And I did notice that the Moroccans were a bit, passionate compared to the other ones. They were the ones having a fight, and that was kind of funny. And to me, it seems like a mixed marriage. If you come from Iraq and the other person comes from Morocco, different culture. And of course, they have also differences in being traditional or not. I think you really should clarify that before you become engaged. I mean, just ask them, are you willing to give up? In one case, it was dancing. If the answer is no, then that's it. Don't go any further. If the man is very conservative and you're not, don't marry him. So that was one thing that went wrong. Another thing I found weird is there's a guy that's supposedly Palestinian. He lives in Jordan, and he has a map of Israel, like It's so weird for me because it's my country and he has a map of it. He lives in Jordan, which is a much larger country. It makes more sense that that would be Palestine if it hadn't been for political divisions by UK, France, I don't know. It would have been Palestine. It should be. Anyway, no politics were really mentioned, but I did see Lebanon. There were like two people from Lebanon or more, and Lebanon is so beautiful. I didn't know. We're now at war with Lebanon, and they just send unmanned um, flying objects, whatever it's called, that killed a few people, and rockets. They've been sending rockets nonstop to Haifa, acre places that are actually mixed cities. I have to put in politics because it's weird for me to see, nice Lebanese people, beautiful country, and then this is the country where terrorists took over and are sending rockets into Israel nonstop and killing people and terrorizing also Arab population, also killing Muslims. So terrorists took over Lebanon, and when you see Lebanon, it looks like the most peaceful place on earth. The grandparents are living in this beautiful house, beautiful, really beautiful country. And it's very sad that it's been taken over by terrorists. That's my point of view as an Israeli. I do like Arabic. I was raised to respect the culture. My father was very fond of Arabic language. And so I love listening to the Arabic, and some words I know. I mean, I do live in the Middle East, and there's Arabs everywhere here, just so you know. Israel is not, there's Arabs in Tel Aviv, plenty of them, and you hear Arabic all the time. So it was kind of interesting how they mixed English and Arabic, because maybe it's because they're special people in Dubai. It's also interesting they didn't know where to live. It should be clear before you get engaged. And I found it weird that this woman is 37 years old, right? 37 years of age. And the guy says to her, okay, we should be having a baby in the next year because he's practical. You're 37. Hey, if you want to have a baby, it's now. You got the guy. You seem happy. Go. What are you waiting for? And she's like, no, I have business trips. Then why the hell are you looking for a husband? She doesn't even have time off work for a honeymoon? So you're supposed to marry this woman and not have a honeymoon? That's so weird. That is so weird. Especially since she works with oil and they're like Arab countries. They should be, it should be clear that if a person gets married, they get time off. So yes, she took time off before for the experiment, but now you're getting married, you need a honeymoon. And the guy wants to have a baby. He's 36, you're 37. Why are you getting married then if you're not going to have a family? Most of the guys, I mean all of them, they want to have a family. That's why they want to marry. That's why they want to marry a person of their culture, more or less. So the Moroccan guys, no, it wasn't guys. I got confused between one of them being Moroccan, but he's actually, only one was Moroccan guy. He was so nasty, macho, disrespectful. The Moroccan girl was the opposite. She was just, the ones from Tunis and Morocco were very free. There was a woman called Noor. What was Noor? Let me see. Lebanese? She was stirring the pot. She was like flirting with another Lebanese man. And they kind of knew each other before. And he insisted he loves another woman. But a lot of jealousy. More, I would say, that in UK, US, because it's more open, because that's how it is in the Middle East. People are much more extroverted. They express their feelings more. The worst couple was the one where Noor, this tall model with the short guy from Egypt, and he wasn't that good looking, and he was very impatient, and she was quite classy. She was reading Proust. She's like a really smart lady. And this guy doesn't seem very bright, very short, and he, not really investing in the relationship. And I thought it was funny, the Syrian doctor, he's a dentist, and he doesn't want to compromise. If he loves the woman so much, why does he mind that she dances? It's not like she's naked or half naked. She's doing traditional dances, and it's beautiful, and she's a beautiful human being. Her name is Karma, and he's just like a handsome, one of the most really, really handsomest man ever seen in Love is Blind. He's like a model and he's a dentist, but he's just like, my wife is not going to dance. I think it's kind of crappy attitude, but let's face it, Arab men are very traditional and they want their wives to be at home raising the kids, most of them. Then why do you date or get engaged to women with a career? They're business owners, financial advisors, and just marry somebody who's not educated or that doesn't want to work. I'm sure I think there were one or two on the show, but they didn't make it to the final. It was quite interesting to see a Muslim marriage ceremony, and I'm very familiar with the Moroccan traditions because a lot of Jews from Morocco live in Israel. So they do this with their tongue, like as joy, and I felt familiar. I really like the respect for parents. The parents have to approve, but on the other hand, I'm sorry, you're like 37 years old. You travel all over the world and you need your brother's permission? Seems a little bit ridiculous. Really, it does. I mean, all these women don't live at home except one, and they are traveling all over the world, and they're not spring chickens. They're all over 30 except one, and they need their father's permission to marry. They don't need their father's permission to travel or to go out drinking or whatever. So it seems kind of silly. That's my opinion anyway. Dubai is not a typical Arab country. Very advanced, very liberal compared to, let's say, Saudi Arabia, I can imagine, where women are not allowed to drive, I think. I was amazed at how beautiful the houses were, the luxury, and I was wondering how people make money in that country. I mean, their families. And again, I was amazed at how beautiful Lebanon is, knowing that it's become a haven for terrorist proxies of Iran. It's really sad. Very sad what became of Lebanon. I felt an affinity to all these Arabs because, as I said, I meet Arabs every day on the street. Like, you hear Arabic and they live here and they work here. And so, this is the Middle East. But on the other hand, I didn't understand why they kept mixing English and Arabic. But I think it's because they're people that are used to working in the English language and French. I think there should be a sign, like a red flag. Liberated career women, stay away, because Arab men are mostly very traditional. I don't think there was one there that was like not setting down the rules. You're not going to work, or you're going to take care of the kids, or you're going to respect me. They're all very macho. I think women who are drawn to Arab men are women that are basically need somebody to tell them what to do. I don't know why else would somebody choose Muslim Arab men. Traditional, I'm talking about. Traditional Muslim Arab men. It's a very traditional macho society, not very nice for women, and definitely not for women with a career. So I'm confused with that. Love is Blind in general, nobody stays married, I think. It's a little bit BS. And one of the reasons is because they don't bother to ask the right questions. And in the case of the other cultures, is because they sleep around, and that doesn't promote a relationship when you have intimate sexual relationship. What promotes is having shared values and figuring out that you have common topics, and then you can live together and function as a family. And to do that, you have to ask the right questions. And I think that's part of the drama they create on purpose in order to have the drama of incompatibility. They don't ask the right questions. They don't ask, what is your opinion about having children? That should be the number one question. Do you want to have children? Yes or no? and not have sex with them, spend 2 weeks with them, and then figure out, oh, he doesn't want to have children, or he wants to have children when you can no longer probably have children easily, when you're like in your late 30s. Just wait 8 years. That's ridiculous, as in Love is Blind US. So right now, Love is Blind US, what they do is they just force people to follow the program, like week after week. And Love is Blind Habibi, it was just done like, they gave all the chapters at once. You could see it. You weren't, everything was very quick. They weren't living together at any point. And I think that's so much better, not to live together and to get to know each other by dating. And I wonder if they couldn't find an Arab man that wasn't macho, because all of them were macho men who didn't want their wives working. So why go with a woman who has a career? I don't get it. I don't get it. I mean, you could choose. You could see their careers. The model, maybe the model was the right one for a macho man, but that didn't work out either, because they were just mismatched in so many other ways. And he was like her third choice because she wanted somebody else. I don't know. I felt sorry for Noor. She wasn't like a typical model. She was very, deep. And I don't think she wasn't. They made her out to be the villain, but I think she wasn't. And it was very clear that the men stuck together much more than the women. The women were not all together. They were kind of competing. Very typical of women of the Middle East. And the men were like brothers, at least some of them. The Palestinian was my favorite in a way that he was the kind of man I could see even Jewish people from Middle Eastern countries look like him. And he had a sense of humor, but he was a macho. And I don't know how that marriage is going to last. Like he says, yeah, she'll have her career, but then already he's like, oh, do you have to travel? Well, that's what she does for a living, so you should have found out before. I don't know why he's not married at 36, because he seems very friendly. He's the nicest. I don't know if it's typical of Palestinians. Maybe it's because they live in more advanced societies. They usually live in Canada, US. They spend time in more advanced countries. Even Jordan is a relatively modern country to Saudi Arabia or Iraq. I don't know. Yeah, the Moroccan guy was very, very honest, very rude. I was kind of surprised, but maybe not, because I know Moroccan Jews. Very rude, very macho. Yeah, not very considerate. The nicest was the guy from Jordan, Muhammad, and the other ones were not. And Shafik was very confused. Maybe he was too young to marry. And he did choose a beautiful girl. I don't think they're going to get married because I think she's much too conservative for him, which is funny because he's more free-spirited. Yeah, there were not a lot of couples that I said, oh, too bad they're not getting married. I thought it was funny to team up a heavy-set man. She said her ideal man is the woman from Egypt. What's her name? I forgot her name. She's very, very fit. I mean, obsessive about fitness. She wants a man who is fit, and then she gets the elephant man. He's like really fat. He's really nice, but doesn't make sense. He's a really, really nice guy, but I can imagine that if fitness is your life, you really don't want that man. I would have paired her off with the Syrian dentist, because he's very fit, and she seems to kind of not mind compromising. I don't know. Anyway, it was interesting, but the mixture of languages drove me wild. Either speak Arabic or English or French, but not mix them all up. But maybe this is what they do in Dubai. I don't know. For me, it was hard to follow up. Like they would say in one sentence, words from 3 different languages. Very confusing. I think it's very interesting how they speak so many languages, and some of them have lived in several countries, which is amazing. Very international background, and yet they seek the traditions of their fathers, their ancestors, and traditional rule, traditional role for women: stay at home, raise the kids. Not really what a woman who worked very, very hard to have a career and a good financial situation seeks. No woman in her right mind seeks to quit working, stay at home after she's like a she has a great job and makes a lot of money. Why would you want to stop working? Anyway, that's what we have to say, right, Shiva? Shiva's really peaceful. She's from a Bedouin village, by the way. She knows a few words in Arabic. Shiva. And yeah, it was interesting to note that they didn't have cats. I thought they would have cats. They would keep cats because I know Muslim people like cats. Didn't see any pets compared to other shows as well. Yeah. And the ones who didn't get married, their families didn't meet. So that's kind of, that was like red flag. Anyway, I think they taught us what are the basics for relationship. Long-lasting relationship. Ask the right questions. And if you don't get the right answers, the answers that you want, then you just say goodbye before it gets too deep. Don't have sex before marriage, and have the families meet. Because if you plan to have a family, it's very important that the families get along and have shared values. Peace, light, and love.